Hello everyone, it's Michelle here, hope you're doing well. This is just a quick one as I am about to film episode 4 of Crime Stories Sunday. And it's a good one, guys. So tune in over on my other channel, Michelle Walks. I'll leave a link to it in the cards. 8 PM UK time today, that show will premiere. I am sick of hearing about the cornbread mafia since Greg and Scott from the behaviour panel mentioned it during the interview with Don and Candus that aired a few days ago now on the Dr. Phil show. As I said the day after this aired, I wish Greg hadn't have said this because it's generated just a raft of speculation. Not that he shouldn't have mentioned trafficking gangs, because personally I believe whatever the circumstances were, it's my number one theory that someone has been trafficked. But naming the cornbread mafia has created a problem. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk here, just briefly, about what has been said about the real reason why Candus freaked out, became very distressed, seemingly at the mention of the cornbread mafia. And this was on Crackin Cases last night. I'll leave a link to it in the description box so that you can make your own mind up. These are just my thoughts, my opinion, based on what I heard. So the story goes that Candus actually received some information during the filming of Dr. Phil that Summer had been sighted. Turns out it wasn't Summer, it was another girl who looked exactly like her. This information had come to the PIs, and the PIs had passed this on to Candus, so she got her hopes up, only to find out later the girl wasn't Summer. And this sighting occurred in Georgia, so the other side of the United States from where Candus was at the time. So, you know, she felt completely helpless that if this was Summer, how was she going to get to her? Well, I've got questions. Now, I'm not questioning that this happened, that the PIs got a tip, necessarily. I could question that, but I'm going to go from the premise that this was true. But I'm going to unpack it a little bit. So the tip came in from Jenna. Jenna, who is the ex-friend of Candus. Now, Jenna's got just as much likelihood as anybody else to possibly see a sighting of someone who looks like Summer. But isn't that convenient? Isn't it convenient that this tip came in from somebody who knows Candus? That's just an open question. It could be a coincidence. I believe in coincidences. Coincidences happen. Why did Jenna call it into the PIs though? Why would anybody call a tip into the PIs instead of the number that has been publicised since day one? Maybe she did call that number, but she also contacted the PIs at the same time. Maybe. Now here's where my real questions come in. And this is regarding the PIs. Now, didn't they know, surely, because they're working for the Wells, that this was the very day that they were filming? So why would you get Candus's hopes up at the very time that they were filming? It seems cruel. But maybe Candus said, I want to know everything that comes in immediately it comes in. All right, so we'll give the PIs the benefit of the doubt on that. What about, though, this filming was actually taking place when Candus got the call that this wasn't summer. And this is why she was tearing up and tearing up and tearing up and getting closer and closer to breaking point. Why would you have your phone on a film set? Well, maybe they had a break and she checked her phone during the break. And maybe, and allegedly the behaviour panel and Dr. Phil's team did know about this tip. So we could only speculate why they didn't mention it. You know, Dr. Phil concluded that the parents had nothing to do with Summer's murder, potential murder. Wouldn't you think that would be something that Dr. Phil would mention? You'd think that, wouldn't you? But maybe that says more about Dr. Phil than this story itself. But Candus went on with the filming, despite having this crushing news. She went on valiantly with the filming, but then just broke down. And, you know, she'd been getting more and more teary. And then she snapped. But the problem with it is, with this timeline, this mini timeline of this interview, that I think just about everybody's forgetting, is that we don't have that full interview. We just have snippets. We just have bits that Dr. Phil's show wanted us to see. We don't know what order those questions were asked in, do we? We just got snippets. Now, it stands to reason, it makes sense, it's logical that she was getting more and more and more and more teary. But we don't know for sure. But what we can see with our own eyes is that once this cornbread mafia was brought up, that's when she snapped. But no, it wasn't the cornbread mafia. It was this crushing blow. And if all of this is true, yeah, horrible. Horrible to have to keep it together and then just snap. But why didn't she just say that? Maybe because she was highly distressed and she just couldn't find the words. Maybe. But later when Dr. Phil interviewed her and he said, why did you freak out at the mention of the cornbread mafia? Instead of giving some whatever excuse she gave, whatever reason she gave, wasn't that her perfect opportunity, once she was calmer, to say, look, it wasn't that. It was the fact that I'd had a crushing phone call. I got my hopes up. Why wouldn't she say that? Or is it just like everything else in this case, that none of it makes sense? None of it makes sense. But I'll let you make your own mind up. Was this true? Was there really a tip phoned in by Jenna to the PIs? Was it true? Is it fabricated? Is it fabricated after the fact to explain why? We just don't know, and that's my problem with this. We just don't have that information. So I'm going to call BS on this being the reason why Candus freaked out. But what do you think? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. Totally the wrong shoes. These are not waterproof. I don't know what possesses me to do these things.